Good morning, everybody. My name is Shoshanna Gross. I am the manager of major events with the Ohio Restaurant Association. I'm here today with our CEO and president, John Barker. Good morning, John.
Shoshanna, good morning.
So this is our daily dose, and today we have a few things that we want to talk to you about. First up is the Senate passed the PPP Flexibility Act, which is a really exciting move for the restaurant industry in particular. John, can you tell us a little bit about what the new changes to the PPP offer for our restaurant members?
Yeah, thanks, Shoshanna. It was a big win last night for the restaurant industry and small businesses alike, and we finally got this passed. The Senate passed it with unanimous consent, is what they mean. All senators agreed to it, so that was good news. The week before, the House had passed it 417-1, so tremendous support by all of our elected officials, and then hopefully the president will be signing it into law hopefully today. So really good news. The components of this is those who have been tracking this carefully, and most of our members have been doing that, restaurant folks. The covered period is the big thing that we were really pushing for, Shoshanna. The Paycheck Protection Program was called that because originally Congress wanted us to, wanted industry to be able to keep people employed. That was the idea behind it. And the problem was it was limited to 8 weeks, and they didn't know at the time that we would be under this pandemic for such a long period of time. Anyways, we got it extended to 24 weeks. That's what we asked for, and we got that. And so people can use it. They can pick, that period of time all the way out until the end of December to use it. So that's really the ultimate in flexibility. So we're real happy about that.
Great.
The other limitation was, if you recall, 75% of the funds needed to be used for payroll. And again, depending on when people got the loan, they may or may not be able to get that much into payroll because they may not be open to have any employees. But now that, for Ohio, for example, we're now obviously reopened for outdoor and indoor dining with social distancing, but we got that shifted to 60% for payroll, and then 40% can be used for things, rent and mortgage payments, utilities, and things like that. So each business will have to go through their model and decide what's the best way to use all this. But I do think this is great news because people will be able to use it and bring people back on the payroll, which is really going to help morale for employees, is going to help the economy, hopefully, and all that. And so we're really excited about it. There's a couple other provisions on this that people are going to be looking at, and one is the loan forgiveness. And so some of the changes on that are good as well, because people were concerned they may not be able to bring back the exact same employees or all their full-time equivalents. And so that language has been loosened up a little bit, and it's specifically going to help restaurants because it realizes that some businesses are going to have, and the words are facing new standards for sanitizing, social distancing, and other safety requirements. And so what that means is the Congress has realized that some restaurants are only going to be able to operate at 33% because some states have limited to 33%. Ohio, there is no specific percentage, but we just know to meet the social distancing, you're certainly not operating at 100%. So that was really written in for restaurants, which was great. The other one is, if you don't get the forgiveness on it because you can't use it for payroll, you decide to use it for other things, you do have to turn it into a loan. The payback period was 2 years, and we got that extended to 5 years, which is really helpful. And then,
is that, John, just to clarify, is that 5 years on new loans, or does that apply to existing loans as well?
Yeah, it's anything that was done under the PPP.
Okay.
Yeah, it's dispersed after the enactment of the act. So people do need to read this very carefully, read the language. It's on our website. It's on the National Restaurant Association website. Make sure you read through it carefully. And then one last thing, Shoshanna, on this is that the borrowers, in this case owners, are going to have full access to payroll tax deferment, which was another really important piece. So this is just such a glimmer. This is such a glimmer of great hope at a time that, things have been, a little difficult for all of us in Ohio and across America. So we're really happy about that. And, so many people, did tremendous work on this. The National Restaurant Association partnered with most of the state restaurant associations, at least the larger ones. Ohio we were right in the middle of this the entire time. Many of our board members, several leaders, lots of letters got written about this. Our action alert got used tremendously. Call after call after call is really terrific. In the last 3 days, Shoshanna, we talked to leadership within Sherrod Brown's office, Rob Portman's office, Brad Wenstrup himself, Marco Rubio, who was one of the leaders on the PPP, and Mitch McConnell, who's the Senate Majority Leader. And lastly, yesterday, about an hour and a half before the passage, we had a long talk with Senator Ron Johnson's team, and Ron was the last holdout on this, and we gave a very impassioned kind of update on what's going on and how critical this was to get across the goal line. And it just shows you when people work really hard and have something like this that our leaders do listen, and we're just so happy. So many of our members really got their advocacy hats on and worked closely with Todd Bowen, myself, and others. And I hate to call out specific people, but I will tell you, there's some people who are just champions, Shoshanna, and they include Brittany Ruby Miller, who was on almost every one of these critical calls. And Brittany and her dad were on the call yesterday, Jeff Ruby with Ron Johnson's team, John Lonnie from Thunderdome Restaurant Group. They're both in Cincinnati, but big footprints in terms of their businesses. Cameron Mitchell has just been, terrific in all this. And then our board member, Gary Calicote, has been there every step of the way, but many, many others. It's just been terrific. And I just want to thank everybody, including all the members in Congress who were with us.
Great. Well, it's certainly exciting news, and it's great to hear that businesses are going to have a much easier time using that money and not have to be so worried about it, either paying back huge loans or returning funds unused.
Shoshanna, we talked about this. I mean, this could be the difference between a business surviving and not surviving. I mean, that's how
Absolutely.
important. We heard that repeatedly, from our members. And I also think it's going to help build some confidence among the restaurant industry as they get open and start bringing back employees. And, they still have this social distancing to deal with, right? If you've been to a restaurant lately and you go inside, that they're operating, 50% of what they used to, because tables are separated and things like that. And yesterday, you and I, thank you for finishing the ORA survey of our members. We put out some of that data, and about 72% of our members who respond to that, their sales are still down 20 to 90% versus a year ago. Now they're getting a little better each week that you do, the data and pull it together, but that's still, we have a long way to go to get.
Yeah. And we know that most businesses are still reporting that even at the levels that they're currently operating at, it's not a long-term solution for them. So they do need this support. Absolutely. Something else that we've been working on to support businesses and learning about social distancing rules and the new sanitation rules is our Ohio Restaurant Promise. And recently we were able to put together a toolkit for restaurants. So that's on our website now. What are some of the things included in that toolkit?
I love it, Shoshanna. In fact, first of all, we have the promise itself that people can print out and put up in their restaurants. And everywhere I go now, yesterday I was at a restaurant and got some food, and I'm looking around all over the place. Where's the promise? I know they remember, right? And it's right on their door when you walk in on both sides. I was so proud, right? And I talked to the general manager, and I talked to the waiter, and I said, thank you for doing this. And they both, by the mask on, they were doing everything appropriately. Tables were spread out. They were really all over it. And I said, have you gone through it with your team? And they said, absolutely. We've reviewed all the things in the Ohio Restaurant Promise, and they were very aware of the Dine Safe Ohio documentation, from Ohio. And so it was just great. And more of those experiences are coming in. So a lot of kudos to you and our staff, our marketing team, to continue to pull those materials together. And I know that signs are available. We have PPE resources available for people, which is really important. And then I know we have things like clings. They're going to be available here soon. And we'll of course alert everybody when those are available in our daily memo and on Daily Dose.
Yeah, and some people have ordered those already. And so as soon as they come in, we'll start shipping out the clings. So those will just be seals that people can stick on their windows or their doors to let people know that they have pledged to the Ohio Restaurant Promise as a way to keep their employees and their diners safe.
I thought your idea earlier that you and I are going to wrap our cars with Ohio Restaurant Promise.
Oh yeah,
that'd be a nice touch, you know. So
great. I guess that's at the cost of the ORA too. Member dollars going to good work. With everything else that's going on, we are still raising money and for our Ohio Restaurant Employee Relief Fund. And so what are some of the things that we have to update on that?
You know, we had a board meeting yesterday. Shoshanna, you and I were on it with our board members, and we got a full report. Just certain things that, you know, we have talked about, so exciting. We had so many people supporting it. You know, we have an internal goal to push this thing in terms of fundraising, you know, up over $300,000 in fundraising, and we are all confident that we're going to continue to raise money. And the reason, Shoshanna, we know so many people are still unemployed. As we just said, restaurants are not anywhere back to capacity, so they're bringing back just partial staff. So there's so many people still in need. And each Friday, we actually sent out the grants. We've sent out over 600 grants so far. And each Friday, you know, I get the real responsibility, and I'm just so lucky to actually sign each one of those checks. And that our team, our EF team, Patty Halper, and her team really drives all that, and they review every single letter and application that comes in. It's just incredible. And, you know, who we've gotten to really support this from a big picture standpoint, you know, Michael Simon has done just terrific things. I think we heard yesterday, has he done over 20 cameos, did I hear? Or, I mean, did I get that?
Yeah. I think more than that.
Yeah,
anyways, he's raised, go ahead.
No, I don't remember the number, but yeah. I mean, to get somebody at his level to take the time for his industry and people that he loves to work with is just, it's inspirational. And we've had others. Christian Gill did a video for us, and, you know, he's a really smart young chef in Cincinnati, and Kamal Boulos here in Columbus. I know Roy Getz, former chair, did one. I'm missing many of them, I'm sure, but you know, just raising the awareness a level.
Yeah. What about Dan Young's granddaughter? She was a pretty cute addition to the videos.
I think she's going to be on America's Got Talent any day now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the big give's coming up, Shoshanna, on June 10th and 11th, and we're going to align with the big give and try to continue to raise awareness and money. And 100% of the money that we bring in goes to grants, to people who apply. And so that's the beautiful thing, that we're running this through our education foundation. And we're so committed to helping everybody in our industry.
Fantastic. And last but not least, we did have our annual meeting yesterday, and so some changes to the executive committee of the board of directors. Yeah.
So each 2 years, our executive committee goes through a transition. And yesterday we had the final meeting of the board where Sam Lindsley served as our chair. Sam has been with the Michael Simon organization for a long time, the restaurant organization. He's now with an executive search firm as well, but Sam served for 2 years, and he will transition in to be our past chair. We're really happy that Sheila Troutner from Taste Hospitality, based here in Columbus, is going to be our new chair. And Sheila brings a tremendous amount of experience and energy, and she runs several businesses that people may be familiar with in the Columbus area, Mezzo and Hubbard Grill and the Wine Shop and Little Turtle Golf Club. And she's just a terrific person, and she's going to bring a lot of energy. And Shoshanna, you and I have the opportunity to work with her on our diversity and inclusion committee. She's been the chair of that for the last year or so. So we're looking forward to working with her. And the other folks on our exec committee, Gary Calicote from the Rusty Bucket Restaurant and Tavern is going to be our vice chair. Mike Honert, who is president of Cisco, based out of Cincinnati, is our treasurer. And Adrian Adornetto is our newest member to the executive committee. And Adrian runs Adornetto's Select Italian Foods and Pizza in the Zanesville area. And so we're really happy that he's joined the exec committee. And yeah, I mean, you've worked with Sheila. What's been your experience with her?
You know, Sheila is a joy to work with. I think that she does a really great job of leading and also hearing what the opinions of others and really bringing people together. So I think that's a really unique and wonderful attribute in any leader, and especially someone who has to represent the diversity that is the restaurant industry. I think Sheila is really well equipped for that. I'm very excited to have a female chair. I think that that is going to just bring a great new perspective to the board as a whole. And I'm excited to just see what Sheila has to offer. I think there's a lot that she can bring.
I do too. It's going to be exciting. She'll be our chair for 2 years, and she's moved her way up the ranks over the past several years. She's learned a lot. And as I mentioned, she's not only did she been leading our diversity and inclusion, she also was the chair of our brand transformation committee that transformed the ORA brand a few years ago. And so it's lots of experience, and we have a ton of work yet to do. I can't wait. You and I were talking about diversity and inclusion and so many of the opportunities we have as an industry to make positive change after what we've all been through here in the last, particularly in the last, couple of weeks. And so we will take it seriously, and we all look forward to that. So.
Great. Well, thanks so much for taking some time with me today, John. And thanks to everybody who's been watching. And we will see you again tomorrow with some more updates from the Ohio Restaurant Association.
Thanks,
Bye.
Shoshanna.